you're gonna do that thing that everybody likes of eating on the podcast, so they can hear your.
I'm gonna put that in the intro, so we're just gonna go for it. All right, baby.
All right. Around about Shag Goose Shag Boy, this here's podcast episode.
Al Bapito's Byzantine.
It's been a while since we've done this.
It has.
I don't feel
with sets and whatnot, because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we are filmmakers.
We are. We make films.
Like, our weekends now are just consumed. Is he still there?
Yeah.
Our weekends now are just consumed by filmmaking.
Pay no attention to the man behind the
I don't
curtain.
think that you can see
they can't
it
see
at
it.
all.
That's great. That
Just
works
put
out.
your hands
God?
through the...
But yeah, so now that we're back to it, as a matter, why don't you step in here right quick? Give the world a. You see this guy right here?
It's his eye.
He sent us over a little. He sent us over a little email because he's my roommate. He was like, "Hey, do this," and I went, "You gotta email us. You gotta email us at pachinopodcast@gmail.com," and he did. And you know what he recommended us?
I'm assuming it's this movie.
Which is
The name of the description.
Super
is
With the title.
Troopers.
No, not Super
Troopers.
No.
Star Trek Troopers.
Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Troopers.
Battleship, the game by Hasbro.
Halo
Turned into a
Reach.
movie.
Battlestar Troopers.
Battlestar
Battlestar
Troopers.
Galactic Troopers.
Starship Galactica.
Yeah.
There are a lot of
Starsky and Hutch.
That one.
That is a bit, but there are a lot of like films that sound exactly like this movie that you could get confused.
Trek Wars.
Star
Trek.
Troopers.
Star Lord.
Star
There you
Shrek.
Star Shrek.
Star
My
Shrek.
favorite.
That's a good one.
Super Mario Galaxy.
Odyssey.
Super Oreo Modesty.
Yeah.
That will be out by the time this is out.
Will it?
It
No.
will. It will.
Let's see how long we
Okay.
can get
You
into
know what?
It will.
All right, here.
It
All
will.
right, $10
$10.
if Super Mario Modesty comes out before this one.
Super Mario
$10.
before this.
See, he's not legally liable because what he said wasn't English. So.
Yeah.
$10.
If you speak another language,
$10. You saw the shake.
you
$10.
are.
No,
Chris is
actually, I
like,
can't make
releases
the bet
it
with you.
today.
Yeah.
What?
Because you're
You're the one
just gonna do
releasing it, yeah. Because then you'll just.
Which why
do
is it not out yet?
I haven't made the title screen yet.
You know who also hasn't made the title screen yet? I don't know, but here's a segue into what happened in the movie.
Bum bum.
Did we say what the actual title of this movie is?
Yeah,
I said
Starsky and
it. I
Hutch,
said it.
yeah.
Starsky and
There's
Groundhog
I
Day.
close. I don't close the door. There's bugs, guys.
Well,
I'll just
it's
suffer
gonna
through
smell like. Okay.
I'll just suffer through the pain.
Okay.
Are we ready, kids? That's a Chris classic right there.
Are we ready, kids? Because we're using RE lights.
We're
but
using
they're not
different
actually
lights.
RE lights.
Could you
They're
pass me
lights.
that chair? Because as fun as it is sitting on my knee.
It's from 1920. These lights are from like 1920.
Yeah, but guess what this movie is from? This movie is from 1997. This movie is called Starship Troopers. It's a really good fucking movie.
And these
And
lights
it's a
are
good
not.
fucking movie, too.
It is a good movie with fucking in it. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's what I meant, Nate.
There's only one scene in there that does that though. But speaking of
It was
scenes
good.
in the movie, Chris.
Yes.
Oh, I was trying to grab it.
Eat
You
it.
got crumbs all
And
over
now
my
you eat it.
keyboard.
Just put it on his floor.
But I did suggest
Please
this.
just vacuum.
I did suggest
Your
this
fault.
movie because
Yeah.
Jake and I were having a conversation about film, and I was trying to catch him to stump him on things he hasn't seen, and I brought up Starship Troopers, and he's like, "I haven't seen that." I'm like, "Well, you need to fix that immediately." And so
And I watched it with them.
And you know what's funny about that? When we watched it, was another time Chris had a podcast episode late.
oh, drama on the pod, drama on the pod.
Hey, that was
Damn.
pretty good, huh? That's why I paused. And the last time we watched it was the first time we watched it, but then we watched it again, and now we're here doing the episode.
So then that wasn't the last time we watched it.
No. You misunderstand.
Recap.
In the 23rd century, this dude, Johnny Rico, is in high school. It's his last day of high school, doing high school boy things. He has a crush on this girl named Carmen. and he wants to dance with her at the prom dance after the football game. And they talk for a bit, and they're like, haha, I'll see you at the dance. And then he goes to his best friend, Neil Patrick Harris, who is like a genius. He's real big genius on math, and Johnny Rico is not real big genius on math. He doesn't really know what he wants to do with his life. But Carmen knows that she's smart. She wants to go and join the Galactic Federation. By the way, that's a thing in the 23rd century. She wants to be a Starship pilot, and Neil Patrick Harris wants to join as well, and he doesn't know exactly what he wants to do yet.
Patrick Harris.
And then Rico's like, well, I don't know what I want to do, but I know I want to be with my girlfriend Carmen, so I'm gonna go join the Federation like a little simp. And so
damn right.
Yeah.
And so
that's actually really fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go risk dying in a war for one woman.
He does later
One woman who's
realize
clearly like not into me.
He does later realize he messed up, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So anyway, last ball game, he meets this guy. What's his name?
Xander Cage.
Yeah, Xander Cage, who is on the opposing team. And but they both like the same girl. They both like Carmen, and so he's like, "Fucking hate you." And so Johnny proves that he, although maybe not super smart, he's super strong, and he beats up Xander in the football game, and he goes and dances with his girl Carmen. And there's this other girl named Dizzy who really likes Rico, but Rico's like, "Nah, I like Carmen." And so he's like, "Okay." And so
I like caramel.
Anyway.
I want candy.
Real quick, we should probably say that the Federation is like if you're going into the Federation, you are considered a citizen. But if you are not in the Federation, you're considered a civilian. Which means, and this is covered at the very first part, that you don't really have as many freedoms as those who are considered a citizen. Mm-hmm. So if you want freedom, you got to be in the military.
Service guarantees
Yeah.
citizenship.
Yeah.
Citizenship.
It's fascism, but they like it. So anyway.
Yeah.
Way to spoil the meaning.
Yeah, way to blow the fucking load
Sorry,
right there at the
sorry.
beginning.
Sorry. So
Way
anyway.
to jerk Nate off.
Yeah, way to blow me. You fucking just drop like a slur and then he says
Anyway, Rico's like, "Dad, I'm gonna go join the Federation." Dad's like, "No, you shouldn't go join the Federation over a little girl." And he's like, "Fuck you!" And then
Well, she ain't no little girl.
well, and he's like,
I
"Fuck
don't
you!"
care.
And he runs away, and he doesn't have anything. He's just he's wearing all that he's got. Kind of a quote from the movie, and so
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so he joins the mobile infantry, and then she joins. Carmen joins the Air Force. She becomes a pilot, and then. What are you doing?
That way you can't read off the Wikipedia
I'm not
page.
reading off the Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Why are these crooked?
They just are.
I think your face is...
I can actually see.
They're not crooked, your entire head is crooked.
Yeah.
No, but this is dude, like,
Yeah, I know.
whoa. Watch what happens when I break
Please.
it.
Anyway,
For the love
he
of
goes into
God.
mobile infantry. Carmen goes into the Air Force or the Space Force, and Neil Patrick Harris is like a military doctor, and so they part ways, and they're like, "Let's make a promise to always be friends." Huh, yeah, we might die, but okay, is what Rico says. And so he goes, and then he does his first training, and he meets his drill sergeant and everything, and then lo and behold, Dizzy shows up, and she's like, "Hey, I want to be transferred to this squad for no particular reason. Wink, wink at Rico. I want to fuck you." And so anyway,
Basically.
he like meets his squad and everything, gets to know everybody. The only other important character is Ace, who like kind of becomes.
Damn it!
Yeah.
Jinx.
Isn't he played by like Gary Busey?
No.
So?
He's played
Yeah,
by Jim Carrey.
Jim Busey.
No, Ace is played by Gary Busey's son. So anyway,
Jake Busey.
Ace is like Rico's new best friend. and they kind of have a little bit of a rivalry over who can become like squad captain, and meanwhile, Carmen is, enjoying the life of a pilot. She almost, fender bends a ship, but it doesn't.
Fender
Guess who else also
Oh,
got put into
Xander, purposely gets himself transferred to train her.
Xanadu.
So yeah, you can see, Dizzy and Xander
Xanthem
both got their fuck game on.
Yeah.
And so
That's basically
They're out
me
there
with
flying
UNA.
ships while the big old dummies are on the ground shooting guns. Yeah.
yeah.
came here
So
to fuck.
anyway, Carmen flies
And I'm all out of
flies
Carmen.
the ship over to Jupiter, and then while she's while she's looking at Jupiter, she's like, "Oh, that's so pretty. I want to go career." And I'm gonna send Rico a little video breaking his heart, saying
In front of
that
all his friends.
yeah,
The
in
way-
front of
the
all
way-
of his
The way
friends.
that
Yeah,
she
they're-
did it too, she was like, "You see this view out here, Jupiter? It's so pretty. I don't think we can be together."
Yeah, that
anymore."
was
like,
really-
I was like,
Carmen goes,
that was
and that's
a-
kind of the problem.
and that's kind of the problem.
And the
It's
problem is you're not Jupiter.
yeah.
like, boys go to Jupiter to get more
Yeah.
stupider, but you didn't go, so that we can't be together.
And then Carmen
you
even
didn't-
says,
You
didn't.
didn't go.
Carmen even says, "I hope this means we can still be friends." And then she's like, "Okay, bye." And like all of his squad members like see that, and Ace comes over and he has this really cool line. He says, "Funny how they always want to be friends after they break your heart." And then Ace and Rico like make out and fuck right there. And so anyway,
They do it in a tent.
Oh boy.
And then
Wait,
and then,
wait. Say it again. Who fucks?
Ace and Rico. Because Ace comes and comforts Rico and says, "Funny how they always want to be friends after they break your
He
heart."
was doing a bit.
I'm
Okay.
doing a bit.
Well, I
Yeah.
thought you confused because that does actually happen. So I thought you were.
Ace and Rico do not fuck.
Ace is the guy.
Ace is
the
the
place
guy.
with the hardware, helpful hardware, folks.
So anyway, let me finish.
Okay.
That's what she said.
That's what Ace said.
That's what she said when the captain came in.
Fucking
sorry,
destroy the
continue,
camera.
Continue.
Lieutenant, I mean.
That,
Lieutenant, damn!
that
Lieutenant Rico. Magic legs. Sorry.
Lieutenant, my son. $10.
anyway.
Avatar.
Anyway.
Last Airbender.
anyway.
Season
Anyway.
Say what you're saying.
2. Tales of Bossing Say.
Kyle, shut up.
Anyway.
Uncle Arrow section.
Anyway. That does happen, kind of, but it's Dizzy and Rico. And they're also in a tent.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the bit.
I was about to get to that in my recap.
Yeah.
That was the bit I was doing. I said they do it in the tent instead of. I was trying to memory hold the viewers into thinking that there was gay sex in Starship Troopers.
Well,
I just had a.
Pull a fast one.
Yeah.
this
I
is
just-
1997, and this was a progressive movie, so continue.
I mean, yeah.
No, I said
We'll
what I
get
wanted to
that,
say.
but
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
finish your recap.
All right.
You got a ways to go still.
I know.
You're in
This
the
is
first-
how it goes.
You're in Act 1.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so
Act
anyway.
these nuts.
Oh yeah. Hey, yeah, brother.
So anyway,
D-drop.
Dizzy's like, "Oh man, that sucks for Rico, but
Dizzy sucks for Rico.
opening for me." And
When
so,
one ass closes,
Another
another
one
opens.
opens.
which at this point Rico's like, "I don't know if I should be here because I just joined the infantry for a girl, and that's kind of starting to click with me now." And so, anyway, he's doing a capture the flag war games training, and he's
the squad
trained.
leader.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
He's not. Is he the
He is
squad?
the squad
he's
leader.
not the squad leader at that point.
Yes, he is.
When he
When,
does
when,
that.
he
when
is.
does he
Because
get
he gets it
promoted?
taken away.
Oh yeah.
This
yeah.
no.
Oh, yeah, I
this
know what
game
you're
is
talking
how
about,
he
yeah.
gets
Yeah.
squad
I
leader.
got ahead of myself.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah, but he teams up with Dizzy, who was on the football team with him in high school, because in the 23rd century, women can play football, and
Just as well
It
as
means
men.
they're allowed to.
they're allowed.
And they do
yeah,
it just as
Yeah.
well, and there's no difference
That's right.
Yeah, and
Because everyone's equal.
because we
anyway,
have the
they
same
work
bone
together and they
density
use a
and
play that
everything.
they used in football in high school, and with Dizzy's help, he gets the flag, and because of that, his superiors decide to give him Squad captain, the rank of squad captain.
Because
Because he's very athletic.
He has like a 20.0 KD in Call of Duty, so they're like.
Yeah, no, I mean he's really good at close hand combat and all that. So anyway, they give him squad command, and they do another training game where instead of using essentially laser tag, they're using real live ammunition, and they're shooting up dummies. And in this little exercise, one of his teammates says, "Oh, there's a malfunction with my helmet." Rico's like, "Oh, let me see. Take your helmet off while you're in the line of fire." And then
you got 4 pointing back at yourself.
Oh, let me. Okay.
So,
thank you for talking over me.
So he takes his helmet off, right? And he's like fiddling with it, and then he orders some other. He orders one of the other like privates in the squad, like, "You got to move up. We got to take the position. Let's go." And then she like is retarded, I guess, and trips and falls down, and then she like
shoots a dummy
the guy
while the guy taking his helmet off is in the line of fire, and then blows his head off. And then they're like, "Rico, you're relieved of squad command." And then
he almost gets court-martialed like right there.
Oh yeah, well,
which I think means you get killed.
Yeah. Well, that almost happens. The woman who actually shot the guy leaves out of guilt, and they're like, "Well, we want to keep Rico, but we can't let it go unpunished." And so he gets 10 whips with a whip. 10 lashes with a whip in front of everybody. And at this point, he's like, okay. Also, wait a minute. Right after that, it goes to Carmen, and it's like, oh, let's see if Carmen's having it pretty bad. And they almost, get trapped in an asteroid field, but because Carmen's so fucking precious, she, they get out unscathed, and she's rewarded and shit. And it's like,
it's like the exact opposite.
It's the exact opposite, yeah. And so anyway, it goes back to Rico, and Rico's like, "I'm gonna call my mom and dad and tell them that I don't need to be here anymore." And then they're like, "Oh, okay, son, you can come back to is it Buenos Aires?
Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires.
Buenos Dias.
Yeah, which by the way,
the entire world is populated by only white people and like 4 people of different colors in this universe.
Well, it's the same thing in Star Wars.
Well, because whatever this country is,
Lando?
it's in South America, but it's all white
And
people.
Donald Glover.
Yeah. I guess Rico is supposed to be like maybe a different race, but he looks and acts and talks so well that you couldn't really tell. So I don't know. There's sort of a weird race. They did this. I feel like they wanted to do like all white people, but because it was the 90s and they wanted to start getting more inclusive, they put other people, other races.
Yeah, which there's not that many. There's one on their squad that's like Asian.
Yeah.
And
what happens to him, Chris?
Does he die?
I don't know. Keep going.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, he tells his mommy and daddy, "Hey, I don't want to be here anymore." And then they're like, "Oh, okay, that's cool, son. You can come back here. There's not going to be a meteor that comes and kills us all." Oh, shit. That happens.
Well,
exactly.
You forget he's like packing up to leave.
Yeah.
And he's getting ready to walk out the door, and then
everybody's running the other direction. He's like, "What are we doing?" And he was like, "We're going to war."
We're going to war. They said the bugs shot a meteor at the fucking Earth and destroyed Buenos Aires and killed 6 million
somewhat
people.
of a backtrack. The whole Federation is fighting these bug aliens that are on the other side of the galaxy that apparently can from that side of the galaxy shoot meteors onto like our planet, and that's how they colonize other planets. And so that's why we're fighting them. That's why they're fighting them. And
previously, up until this point, they were just like pushing their territory back, but they weren't like aggressing too terribly much. The Federation wasn't. Yeah. And then the bugs got tired of having their territory taken back incrementally, so they
started to retaliate. Yeah, I mean it's. In the propaganda, it's like the aliens are attacking us, but in actuality, it's like we won't leave them alone. So they're trying to fight back, essentially.
Yeah.
But so, anyways, knowing that his entire town Well, his entire is it the country itself,
I think
or is it just the city?
I think it's like most of the country.
Okay, it's most of the country. 8 million people die, including his parents, and he's like, "Yeah, fuck these bugs. I want to get back and start killing these bugs." And so he joins back in on the infantry, and they go and they do their first swarm on the planet, and they fight all these bugs and shit. And it's kind of a blur to me exactly what happens, but at the end of it,
the first time they land on the planet, it goes horrifically wrong. Because
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't know
It's
how
coming back to the beginning.
Yeah. The beginning starts out with this. It goes horribly wrong.
Most
Is
everybody
Carmen there? Carmen's not there on that one.
Well, she might be like in a ship, like above the thing.
Yeah,
But she...
yeah.
Oh yeah.
They are there.
Yeah, she's there, and she almost gets fucking killed because they shoot those meteors from the ground to the air.
Well, there are these huge beetles that can essentially shoot comets into the atmosphere.
Yeah, and so they destroy a lot of ships, and one of the destroyed ships hits Carmen's ship, and her ship does like a Titanic where it's like splits in half.
Yeah.
And so
And she has to hold on to something in space.
She goes,
She's holding Toby holding the train.
Yeah, she's strapped to the
I was
front
thinking
of
about
it.
Captain America.
Yeah. This is a hot take that Kyle will agree with me on, but if any of the Star Wars like sequels were like this movie, it would have been a lot better, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they're not even really comparable. They're entirely different.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Anyway,
Just like what happens next
so
in the movie.
in the end of the at the end of this raid, Rico gets injured pretty bad to the point to where they actually announce him dead, but he's not dead. He's in a Dragon Ball Z container.
they stick him in a Bacta tank.
Yeah.
It's not comparable. They stick him in a thing from Star Wars.
Yeah. And so in 3 days he's good to go, and
The book was written before Star Wars, I think. Though. I gotta double check.
in
that.
three
it was written in I was joking.
Yeah.
in 3 days he's good to go, and he gets up, and in between that time Hi. In between that time, he gets reunited with Carmen because they're like having a little party or get together or whatever. And he meets Carmen, and they're like, "Oh, hey!" And Dizzy's like, "Rrr," and then Xander's like, "Ah!" And then Rico's like, "I fucking hate you, Xander." Xander's like, "I fucking hate you too. Come fight me." And they fight, and then he beats up Xander because Xander's a little bitch. And he looks at Carmen. He's like, "I don't like you anymore. I like Dizzy." And Dizzy's like, "Yay!" And so they do another swarm. They do another raid on the planet again. And before this raid, he and Dizzy fuck, if I'm not mistaken.
You get to see tits.
You get to see Dizzy tits.
When is the shower scene? Is that
I skipped the shower scene, and I'll talk about it after this recap because there are important things that happen in that.
Yes.
But yeah, so they do another little raid, and it looks like it's about to go well, but then it doesn't. I may need a little bit of a.
This is the one
refresher.
where it happens during the day, and it kind of looks like they filmed it in like the Mojave Desert.
Oh wow.
And it's
yeah.
So it's starting to go badly, and then a giant ass huge
beetle comes up from the ground.
A house comes out from the ground.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to kill it. They're shooting all sorts of big ordnance at it, and then Rico climbs up this cliffside where he's above the bug. He jumps on it, shoots a hole into its carapace, and chucks a grenade inside of it, and the whole thing explodes.
And everyone's like, "Yay, Rico!" And in that he gets promoted. I forget what to.
Oh, you forgot to mention on the first raid his
5 minutes.
Okay.
What?
5 more minutes.
Okay.
His corporal dies in the first raid because and then it used to be something called something that his squad used to be called I don't remember the character's name.
He gets assigned to the Roughnecks.
Yeah, it was
it's an elite.
It was like Larry's Roughnecks, and then when he dies, he gets that guy's position, and then it becomes Rico's Roughnecks.
Yeah.
Which sounds a lot cooler.
Yeah, and so yeah, I
And then
think
that's why he was in
after
charge.
but then Dizzy dies.
Yeah.
On that
And
range.
on that mission, they discovered essentially that there's a
There
bug.
are brain bugs.
Yeah, there's a bug that
Yeah.
can go into your brain, and it's like, oh, there must be one controlling it. And so their goal at this point is to get one of the brain bugs to figure out how to destroy the rest of them, stop them from repopulating.
Yeah, and the brain bugs are the biggest threat because it seems the one that's most intelligent and telling all the other ones, all the grunts, to go kill these humans.
By the way, there's a lot of important stuff we're skipping over, but I presume we'll go into detail about
we
that
will.
stuff
We
as
will.
time goes on.
So, anyway, this is where the third act is where I'm really, really fuzzy on it. So I may need a little bit.
So they go to investigate this facility that has gone like dark. It was like a colony that another group of space marines had showed up there to try and see what was going on. And then so they send Rico's Roughnecks in because they're like, the facility's gone dark. We need you to go in and see what's going on. And they get to the facility and everybody's killed. There's dead bodies everywhere. And there's a few dead bodies that have got giant like red Solo cup sized holes in their brain.
On their brain, it's like, oh, the brain bug's here.
Okay, we're moving out of order on this.
Did
We did?
Yeah,
Brain
that-
bugs,
that
and
happens.
then there's a shit ton of bugs that attack them, and everybody's like,
Because that's when Dizzy dies.
That's when Dizzy dies? Yes.
Yeah, you
and
Oh,
then they keep
okay,
getting
that's
shot,
my
and then
fault.
there's like flying bugs that cut their heads off, and
Okay.
then they're like coming out of the ground, another big black beetle that takes
Okay.
the guy with the arm, he dies, then they're running, and Dizzy goes, whew, grenade, blow up, then she gets murked a bunch of times right in the chest, and then they take her like, Dizzy's dying!
Yeah.
Next scene.
Carmen gets him out.
They,
Okay.
Next scene.
they escape with like 10 people when they went there with like 50 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
happens after that?
So this is the part where I'm really super fucking fuzzy.
Okay, basically they devise a plan to go get Brainbug, and when they drop troops off, all the troops get kind of killed, like on their way down there. Not all of them, but a big number of them. Carmen's ship gets destroyed in the upper atmosphere, and she escapes with Xanadu.
Yeah, and the pods.
And, yeah,
Xander Cage.
and the pod gets kind of off course, and it gets somewhere. And she's like, when she's going down, she's like, yo, anybody down there, come help us. And Rico
They
hears
have a
that.
Black Hawk Down situation.
Yeah. And Rico's like, nah, she's dead. And then as they're heading towards the Brainbug, he's like, I have a feeling that she's alive now. And he heads over.
Is it before this that he meets Neil Patrick Harris again?
He
Or
meets
is
him
it
a
after?
bunch of times. He's,
Okay.
Yeah,
he's
they see
become
him
like
at some point.
basically an admiral. He's like really high up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Neil Patrick Harris is so high up that he gives him the position that Rico's at now.
Yeah.
Because he's psychic, and then they go to the
Yeah.
brain bugs, and Xander gets it. Oh, the little brain bug comes out. It's like this giant slug with a very interesting face,
Yeah.
to say the least.
He looks like
and
a
in
tick.
this face, something comes out, and it gets Xander, and he
Yeah.
sucks him out, and all the
And
brains
Carmen
go out,
watches
and he
all
goes,
this.
ooh,
But-
and then Carmen's like, ah,
But Xander
and
says...
then Xander's like, I'm gonna die, and then the rest of them come in there and like, kill the people, and then they capture the brain bug and pull him out, and Neil Patrick Harris is like, ugh!
And then,
he's like,
he turns.
he's afraid, and then they're all like, woo!
They turn to everybody. He's like, he's scared.
And then it ends with another advertisement. All right, we had to rush over a couple things in the recap right there because it's a long movie, it's a complex movie,
A lot of things
so we kind of
happen.
had to shoot
Yeah.
over it. I mean, obviously, I think we're all in agreement here about what this film is about. Fascism rocks.
Fascism rocks if you force your
No,
citizens.
this movie is about
to believe
fascism
it.
and rocks. Because
Right.
rocks.
Fascism and rock.
But no, I do think this film
Yeah.
presents an
Well-
idea that fascism rocks.
So the thing about the shower scene that we skipped over, this is like the first.
all right,
one
well,
of the-
we're gonna get there. I want to give an overview right quick because
Okay.
that's very specific. But yeah, I think Paul Verhoeven, basically, and Heinlein present this as a film that is pro-fascism, but in its subtlety presents that, hold up, actually it's anti-fascism. Now we can do the shower scene.
It's almost as if the film itself is a propaganda piece.
yeah.
Well, it's very reminiscent. There are a lot of shots that are ripped directly from like Nazi propaganda
yeah.
pieces.
Well, the
'Cause
uniforms, there's
well,
like...
those two that Neil Patrick Harris is wearing by the end of it but the director, I'm pretty sure, was in the Netherlands during Germany's Third Reich phase.
Yeah.
So he's probably acutely aware of that imagery and all that stuff.
And it might even be somewhat of a criticism of Israel's early government because of the whole service guarantees citizenship thing. I don't think that was prominent any other time in history before that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily directly speaking to that. It could be.
But that element itself.
Yeah, no, certainly.
I don't know about that. I ain't stupid.
Well, basically, like in Israel, you have to serve in the military for X amount of years.
Yeah.
And then after that, then you're good to go.
Never mind. I didn't.
But you
know
aren't
that.
a citizen until you do that, technically.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know the intricacies of it, but
Well, that was just something I thought I'd pause it because that was something that stuck out to me personally. Because Israel's government for a while is at least early starting out. I don't know much about its internal politics now. Was pretty authoritarian. But really, this movie is not calling out anybody specific. I think since it was written in the late 50s, it was clearly inspired by America's sort of anti-communist imperialism. Most prominently, at the time, he would have been criticizing the Korean War.
yeah.
The author may have even served there. I have yet to do more research.
The idea, and I'm not promoting these ideas as being true, but I'm saying that I think the idea behind the bugs being representative of, the Korean people that we were fighting, or even later the Vietnam people that we were fighting, or even later when this movie came out would have been after the Persian Gulf War, the people in the Middle East that we were fighting. It's like the bugs represent all these technologically incapable civilizations, and we're like, yeah, we got them with our might and everything,
but whose influence is still spreading.
Right?
We
Yeah,
wanna harm
right.
that.
Yeah, and I think that's like you were talking about. It's that anti-imperialism piece, I should say.
But these themes all operate on a layer entirely beneath the movie itself.
Right. It does not, and the reason that this was so critically lauded beforehand is because it was so much not on the surface and not apparent that without further analysis, it looks like it's not even there.
It just looks like a shitty action movie.
Yeah. But it's still pretty good even on that level.
I think so, yeah. I think it's certainly, like, the effects look really good.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
for the 90s especially.
Yeah.
The budget was like $150. Sorry. What the fuck? The budget was $150 million.
No. It was
It was $150.
$150. Wow, they really made that go a long way.
Yeah.
With all that 19...
They
man.
stretched it real far.
all that, StarCraft 1 came out 2 years before that.
It was $105 million. It was $105 million.
Is that a lot for the time?
I would think so.
I don't know. Not on a movie of this scale.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, this to me gave me very Leprechaun 4 in space
Yeah.
vibes, like just in terms of not only how it looked, but just like how the production itself kind of felt. Where it's like clearly it had money, but it didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it used it pretty wisely, and I would actually say that they used it better than Leprechaun 4.
Yeah.
Well, a perfect example of something in this sort of sphere that had a shit ton larger budget but seemed to do less with it was The Fifth Element. I think it had nearly $1 billion.
No, we're done with this conversation.
Okay.
Shower scene.
Well,
You don't like
well,
the
well,
Fifth
well,
No, I love the Fifth Element.
real quick, I was going to say, you were talking about Leprechaun 4 in space. That movie came out the same year as this one did, and the budget for that was only $1.6 million.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So it's at 100 times that.
Yeah.
It's kinda crazy.
Aren't those movies like really bad though?
Well, honestly, no. Well, Leprechaun 4 in space was really good,
That's our
but
first podcast.
Leprechaun 4 in space looks a lot like Starship Troopers. There's not really
I
that
don't know if I
much
agree. Well,
that much of a difference.
Set
Wise, yes.
I-
When
I-
it comes to like the bugs and everything, you can definitely tell the budget went there.
Right. Yeah.
But
I kind of want to go because I feel like I struck a nerve there, so I'd like to go back and maybe
we can talk about that later. Shower scene.
so the shower scene, I think it was kind of smart for them to like give the most important exposition of this world in the most distracting scene of the movie. Because like there's a bunch of naked people and naked women, and they're
tits
just
everywhere.
there's tits everywhere, and they're all showering as a
Tuesday
squad. But they're all talking about why they decided
Kyle.
to join the Federation and be a citizen.
Yeah.
And some of them are given the whole like, oh well, you know, I want to be able to pay for college. Oh well, I want to do this to support my country. But then the others are like, well, I want to have kids, and it's easier to get a license for that if you're
Yeah,
a
to
citizen.
be-
Be specific. Let's
crazy.
be specific here, though.
Okay.
It's the two women, right? So one of the women says,
Want to be a politician.
"I want to be a politician."
She's the one who shoots the guy in the head.
Yeah,
when
and
he
then
takes his helmet
leaves.
off. Yeah.
And then the other one,
Which is
the
funny
one
that the politician one ended up doing that.
who says, "I want to have kids."
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's even more important is what they look like, specifically their hair. I think, because the one who wants to have kids is a lot more masculine, at least in appearance.
Is
And
she
the one-
the tomboy
Yeah.
one?
Yeah,
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. You think that has to do with it?
I do.
Well, I didn't even realize he until he mentioned that she was the politician was the one that shot the girl in the
Yeah.
head and ended up leaving, which is kind of emblematic of it. I think that's speaking to something on a deeper level. That
Yeah,
the-
because
that
political beings' negligence always winds up killing people.
Well,
Exactly,
right,
yeah.
but I think even more than that too, it almost kind of presents this level of censorship and complacency that exists within fascism. At least the potential is the people who succeed are the ones who don't question, who don't go against anything. They don't strive for anything, because when he gets to Rico too, he's like, he's our main character. So if anybody has real motivation, it should be him, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And then he's the one that lives at the end,
Right.
and everybody else who
Is
does
rewarded
have
the
these
most.
right.
Yeah.
So I do think it kind of speaks to that level of complacency.
Yeah, well, that's why fascism in general is just such a flawed system. It's because whenever you have the state dictate what you should and shouldn't do, then it takes out your personal choice to be anything more.
Yeah.
Because if like it's like in fascist society, it's like everybody has, in communist societies too, it's like everybody has their specific roles. You have to live in those roles, and there is no movement in and out of there. And it's literally just a matter of you physically doing that job. It's like that takes out. That's why in communist countries and in fascist countries, there are no new products that are ever created. The level of care and living standards are always deplorable compared to any other place in any other part of the world. Just because you're not promoting that innate drive inside all of humans to be more than what they are.
The only benefit, plausibly, I can see.
Security.
Well, security, strong military also, but
Yeah.
in Nazi Germany, prior to the war and probably during as well, they had like no poverty. There was nobody who was impoverished.
Right, because the state mandated that everybody does something, and so
Yeah.
yeah. But the problem is that the state, like the problem with that economic system, just in general, is because the state cannot own goods. Because if the state owns goods, it's not actually producing anything,
Yeah.
because there's nothing new being produced. It's just using up resources it already has. That's why you can't just rely on the state to provide you everything, because the state doesn't own anything. The state doesn't have any money. It's your money. It's using your money. So when you say that you have a fucking deal that's $3.5 trillion and it's only going to cost $0, that's bullshit, because guess what? It's not your money.
Uh-oh.
Cringe.
So what else did you want to say about the shower scene?
I think
Cope.
that's it.
Oh, really?
Biden says something. Cringe.
Cringe. Cope.
No, I shouldn't say it.
Say what?
No, don't.
Yeah.
Say
Anyway,
what?
continue. I was going to make a joke.
Was there? So that was all you wanted to say about the shower scene?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah, no, I thought that revealed a lot of interesting stuff, and I didn't. This is why I wanted to talk about this movie in particular, and why I wanted to have other people to talk about it with, because I feel like everybody sees something new every time it's seen. You know.
One of the most important things I think that
It's a
this
note
film
that I wrote, where the cursor is.
that this film presents is the advertisements. Because
Yeah.
how many are there? Only 3? Or there are 4?
There might be 4,
Okay.
if you're counting the one at the end.
Then there'd be 4.
think so.
So there's one at the beginning. There's 2 in the middle, kind of separating the acts.
Yeah.
So one that separates Act 1 and 2, and then 2 and 3, and then one at the very end, which is when we have the send off. So it looks like what, a website that somebody
What it is it's like an AOL thing where it's like an internet hub where it's like you click here to see news, click here to see sports, click here to see.
It's like a homepage.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, but everything that, and we see them click through these tabs, and all of it just has to do with, here's why you should join the.
Yeah.
What is it called? The
Federation.
Army.
The military.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or become or join Citizenship.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like
become a citizen today.
The very opening of the film, it's funny because of how cheesy it is, but it's kind of horrific. Like when you think about it, like the opening of the film, it has like showing off all the troops and the guys narrating, we fight the battles, and it's like everyone here is fighting, and then it, like a kid steps out. He's like, "You're too young, buddy," and he goes, "Oh, okay, wait again for later."
Everybody's like, "I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part." And then
I'm doing my part.
Like, she's fully dressed up.
There's
and
even
like,
There's even one where the troops are like going to like a playground and handing the kids assault rifles, and they're just laughing.
it's practicing
crazy.
firing them.
Right.
There's one scene where they're Neil Patrick Harris at the end is experimenting with a bug.
Yeah.
And then they just show it mutilating a cow on the thing.
Yeah. It's wild.
Now they do censor that.
Well, is that censored for the movie or censored for the thing?
It's definitely censored for the thing.
Yeah, I would assume that. I would assume that. Yeah.
Because they would have put that in.
Yeah.
Like I think, but no, it's specifically horrific because again, it's like going back to Nazis. It's like literally everybody in Nazi Germany was expected to be a part of the military effort. And it's like specifically like again those are taken straight from like Nazi
Also,
propaganda films.
When you see Neil Patrick Harris at the end, take
we
note.
already said this.
Did we? Are you
Go
sure?
ahead.
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead.
I want to hear it.
I'm only doing that because you interrupted me. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Continue with what you were saying. I'm sorry. I didn't. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Chris.
Let's
Go
instead
ahead, yeah,
be
let-
deadlocked and not say anything.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
not. Yeah, go
well,
for
I
it.
was gonna say another thing about Neil Patrick Harris is like, did we talk about how he's dressed at the end?
Oh,
Yes.
I don't think we did talk about
I
that.
said it.
I know I said it.
We both said it.
When did you say that?
During the recap.
Oh,
When you asked, hey, have we seen Neil Patrick Harris recently? I was like, yeah, and he was dressed like an SS officer.
Oh, okay. That I just.
I didn't remember. To be fair, Chris, I didn't remember
I
hearing
didn't
that
remember
either.
that.
All right.
Okay. I'm trying to.
The officers are dressed like SS officers, and they even have like the lightning badge, like that on their arm.
Stop! Get off of me.
Oh, now you're pulling a Jake.
He doesn't do well with women.
You guys are jaking me off.
Stop. Anyway, there's also another one, and I think it's the same one, but there's this massive anti-arachnid propaganda, and the propaganda is
Anti-insect.
is it?
Anti-bug.
They're not arachnids, I don't think.
They're just
Oh, I
bugs.
thought they were.
They're big
I
old
thought they
bugs.
called them the arachnids.
What do they call
might, I
them,
don't know.
Chris?
What?
Our resident expert. What do they call the bugs? Do they call them anything?
Pull up a picture of
besides-
Neil Patrick Harris.
Arachnus. No, this is.
What are you doing?
He's looking at pictures of Carmen.
He's showing us her tits on the
Dude.
bug.
No, I'm not. I'm
She
not.
is
Yeah,
very
the
attractive.
arachnids.
No,
Yeah.
they do
I
call
like
them
Disney
arachnids.
better.
She is very
um,
attractive.
Anyway,
She is very attractive.
but
call
there's
them
this
arachnids.
this constant anti-arachnid
I like her
propaganda, and the only information they get is this anti-arachnid propaganda. And there's another scene with the kids too. They're like it's like outside, like in a parking lot of the school or something. And there's just a bunch of cockroaches, and they're just
They're just stepping
Yeah.
on the
stomping on
cockroaches.
them, and it's like gruesome because you see,
But the mom's cheering.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, there's like a crazy close up on her face. She looks like a maniac. She's like,
Yeah, no, she's like literally like
yeah.
yeah, she's like a fucking UNA actor.
Got him.
Bro.
Well,
Subtlety is not something anyone in UNA can portray.
Are you gonna censor that out, or do you literally
No, I'm
just
gonna
tell
put it
like
in.
this much
We don't edit
personal
this.
information?
We take it and we upload it.
Yeah.
That seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and say everything that you actually.
But yeah,
believe.
there's also the scene in the science lab or whatever where they're dissecting one of the insects, the bugs, and I think it's Carmen. Somebody goes there. She goes, "They're just bugs."
He's
And
dizzy.
Oh yeah.
is it Dizzy?
Yeah.
Dizzy goes, "They're just bugs."
And then Carmen is like disgusted, but everyone else seems
Yeah.
like so
Completely
desensitized
fine,
they
yeah.
don't
Well,
care.
Carmen and Dizzy really do not like each other, and Carmen beforehand was like, "Oh, I want to be a pilot. You gotta have nerves of steel to do that. Ha ha ha! I can do it." And then like she barks if she's like dissecting a bug, and Dizzy's like, "Nerves of steel."
More like,
More
Balls
like
of steel.
more like bitch it sucks is what she says. Yeah. And then she's like got him. But
she says that.
Yeah, she says that in the movie.
The teacher who becomes the lieutenant says something really interesting at the beginning of the movie. He says, "Figuring things out for yourself is the only true freedom one has."
Mm.
And I thought that was really interesting because he turned around
rat check.
yeah, well, by the time he became the lieutenant and we knew about him being the lieutenant that they had been talking about, he was just like straight up like, "Yeah, I'll kill anybody. I'll kill any of the bugs. And if the bug captures somebody, I'll kill that person. I expect you to do the same to me."
Well, he also says
And they do.
It's like a huge 180 as far as like what I was expecting out of his character, given
Yeah.
that quote.
he also says that the supreme force is violence.
Yeah, he does.
So-
Yeah, he says a lot of things that sound contrary.
Well,
Like, it's kinda wild.
He says basically the opposite of violence doesn't solve everything. He's like, violence has solved literally every problem.
Right, which is really funny because it's kind of true. Like, it's like, okay, you're missing some steps on there, but the one woman, she's like, "My mom said violence didn't solve anything." He's like, "Name one historical event that violence has not solved."
And she
It's
goes,
right. It's like, oh shit, yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, that's such a stupid quote. I hate that quote so much, that violence didn't solve anything. Because that is really moronic to say that. Because, well, no, there are times when violence is necessary.
"I don't like you. Guess what I do? Knock your lights out. Problem gone. Solved."
Well, the question is, the question should, and the quote itself should not be, violence. Is it violence doesn't solve everything? That objectively is true. It doesn't solve everything. But even if it did, should that be the way that everything is solved? Is the question we should
Right.
ask.
It's the question of when to use violence
Yeah.
and in what appropriate force, right? And it's like that's when it becomes, because
This is going on
if
YouTube,
you-
yes?
right. 'Cause-
We are in no way encouraging violence to be taken under any circumstances. We are positing hypotheticals,
Yeah.
just for the record.
well, in that vein of thought, Nazis.
Got him.
Seriously, like in World War II, if violence didn't solve everything, what were we supposed to do? Talk them down? Because I'm pretty sure that was tried and it didn't work ever. Because there are some people who are so insatiable with their lust for power that they are going to use violence to obtain that power. And and in some cases, in those terrible, awful cases, you do have to use violence to counter that.
Right. Well, and I think, too, again, with the idea of propaganda here, is that the Arachnids, again, are presented as those extreme, hyperbolic, entity. Like, you can't reason with them.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. You have to kill them.
Yeah.
You have to.
Which is funny because that's what the humans are. It's like they're
exactly.
attributing their own motives and everything to the enemy. And in doing so, you're like, oh, yeah, well, clearly they're bad.
But if you censor any information and only present,
Yeah.
that one side of things, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Because the movie, and we said this, y'all said this, the movie doesn't even talk about why this is happening.
Right.
It even presents the film as if the Arachnids attacked first, which is not true.
Right.
Is it? I didn't notice any differentiation from that point in the actual film itself.
Well, I think they never say that we essentially started the war. We because that's what you said, right? That we started encroaching on their territory.
Oh, I said
and they
that.
fought and they fought back.
They were like inching, like they were taking a little bit, and then the Arachnids decided, okay, I guess we're done with you, so we're gonna. You could almost compare it to to the Japanese treatment of Americans during the Second World War. Like, they were encroaching, taking waters that used to be like in the South Pacific that used to be like American territory or like Allied territory, and then they decided that they wanted to do another strike to really stick it to us, so they did Pearl Harbor. And I think that was meant to be a sort of homage to that, because they woke the sleeping giant, but this giant was not a giant of constitutional republic, democracy, freedoms. This was a giant of pure drive and focus on domination and power.
Right.
So it was almost more threatening than the U.S.
Right. And I like the sleeping giant analogy that you use, because I think it was Bin Laden who essentially attributed the U.S. as being like a sleeping paper tiger, where it's like yeah, it talks a big fight, but if we attack, like that was the whole reason why he orchestrated 9/11 in the first place. Was he was like, yeah, we'll attack the U.S. and the U.S. will fall because it only talks big, but it's not big, like, because it's essentially like it's the idea that we were not as powerful as we claim to be.
Yeah.
And I just think that's an interesting parallel. I don't know if it necessarily relates back to the movie, but I thought that was interesting.
Well, the movie came out before 9/11.
No, I know.
But it might have.
Or did it?
When did
9/11 happen?
No, when did the first?
Go ahead. I'll wait.
There was
$10.
There was a bombing in the 90s of the World Trade Center, conducted by the Taliban.
Yeah.
So when did that happen?
In the 90s.
Well, I mean, like, when did, like this movie, and were those events sort of?
This movie was 97, so.
Well,
it probably happened before that.
What else you got, Chris? What's another one of your good old scenes over there?
Good old scenes?
Yeah.
Can't really think of any at the moment.
1993.
I mean,
okay, so
this may be a nitpicky thing, but I still find it hard to believe logically that the Arachnists can like hurl a meteorite to Earth when they show that like their planet is on the other side of the galaxy.
Yeah.
So like if they hurled it at us, it'll take like millions of years for it to get to us. But if it's like hurled to us at a super fast pace to where it gets to us like within a day, it'll destroy Earth.
Well, even if it
because of how fast it would be going.
Right, because they're on the other side of the Milky Way, and the Milky Way is assumed to be 100,000 light years across. That means if it was traveling at the speed of light, it would take 100,000 years to get to us.
Yeah. So it'll take a really, really long time.
So they either have to be really close, have some sort of wormhole technology, or it was done by humans.
God damn it, Kyle! You just stole.
Because I knew where you were going with that.
I don't even want to say it anymore.
Too slow.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt them.
Too slow.
That's your fault.
I guess so. So, I didn't think about this until just now. So thank you, Chris.
I thought it was implied.
I don't think it was implied at any point. I think you could have inferred that through that logical sort of line of thought, but I think the movie placed a lot of that on you. Now, I've yet to read the book, and I would very much like to compare and contrast the movie from the book.
Right.
Because I think it deals with these themes a little deeper and more overtly than the film does, for whatever reason.
They do say that they naturally use the meteorites to colonize other planets, that like the bugs are on there, but is that ever shown?
And there's never any. So there are never any arachnids on Earth.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, then maybe that's not true. And so maybe it was the humans that did it, because this is just basically a presentation of a propaganda piece, right? It's potential that it never actually happened. Maybe the bugs didn't do it, so maybe it was the humans, but to kind of just motivate this cause to get all these people rallied up to kill the arachnids because we want to kill them.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost as if manufacture crisis never go to waste.
What?
He's. I was about to make a joke that would definitely get you taken off YouTube, but
Yes, that's why I kept it vague enough. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I do. Joe Mama.
Who's Joe?
Mama.
I don't know. You tell me, Nate.
Yeah, it's just because when you trade off security for freedom, you
Oh,
wind
I
up
know.
losing both.
We were talking.
Yeah. Because then a lot of people die unnecessarily.
Yeah. Well, I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said, if you trade security for freedom, you don't deserve either.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of fair.
Which is crazy, too. Everybody that Rico cares about dies.
Mm.
Like, everybody.
Yeah.
Except
Well-
Neil Patrick Harris, who is now a Nazi.
Carmen doesn't die.
So
Yeah, but they're broken up, so...
he's dead to her.
The main three that start out in the film and say, "Let's meet up again and always be friends."
Yeah,
They
but
do.
Carmen's a hoe.
Carmen is
Neil
a
Patrick Harris is a Nazi.
Yeah.
So are they really together?
That's the thing.
I think at the end of the movie, they're like, isn't it so great we're still friends? Doesn't that happen at the end?
I
Yeah,
guess
it's kind of
so,
wild.
Yeah.
This
Dude,
movie
I was honestly really sad when Dizzy died.
Me too, man, because she
I-
was like a cool character.
Well, like the scene where she like turns back and then kisses like the tank and says, "I'll wait for you." I'm like, that's fucking sweet. I don't want her to die. As soon as she did that, I'm like, this bitch is gonna die.
Yeah.
I knew. I was like, either her or Carmen's gotta die, and I couldn't make up my mind who it was gonna be. And then she goes, Dizzy, like that, and I was like, yeah, she's dead. Like, and she had nothing. We hadn't seen anything yet, but I just saw him turn and do that, and I was like, yeah, she's dead. Like,
Was this the first time you watched this?
yeah.
Okay.
You know, the whole film almost seems like corny beat for beat, but I think it's almost to illustrate the fact that the whole thing is meant to be a propaganda piece within the website at the beginning.
And I agree 100%.
I think it's written cornily on purpose.
Because again, this kind of is supported by the fact that they're on the air, like the news, near the third quarter point of the film, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And then we go back a year, and then we're there.
Yeah.
So that is an interesting idea that maybe this is all...
I would agree if not for the whipping scene, because I think that's a little bit.
That's true.
I think that's a little bit too much that you wouldn't want to show if you were creating a propaganda piece, specifically because it is the hero character.
You don't think that a authoritarian government would show capital punishment to people who fail to serve their government in the proper
Not
way?
if they're the hero.
Because they did, but he wasn't a hero yet.
It doesn't matter if your claim is that the movie is like, or their propaganda piece is through his eyes. Like, this is what it's like if you do this, and it's great, and like, yeah, you can have like a bunch of people dying and everything, kind of, off camera kind of thing like that, and that's one thing, or even his friends who would die in the process, that's another thing. But to have him be whipped in such a like, so it's portrayed as a bad thing, specifically in how it is done. It's not portrayed in like a, yeah, we're glad that he got this, now he understands his lesson. No, it's portrayed as horrific.
Yeah.
Like, he's being whipped, he drops the piece out of his mouth, he takes it like a champ, but we are seeing these cuts and these blows into there. There's no musical cue, nothing. It's played completely straight. It's horrific to watch, and I don't think it holds up as something you would put in your piece if that person is supposed to be the audience surrogate.
Well,
In North
that
Korea
was kinda
today,
tricky.
they still have.
Yeah,
they will
I
call
agree.
children
For a few
out.
reasons.
In North Korea today, they will call children out in the middle of the day, in the middle of the class, to watch public execution of dissenters.
That's not the same thing, though.
There actually is a propaganda piece at the very beginning. It's like right after they're talking about the Federation. They just say a criminal was like charged guilty of murder.
Yeah.
His live execution tonight at 6 p.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
how in the
hold on,
fucking
hold
world
on,
is that even
hold on,
remotely
hold
the
on,
same?
Hold on.
Because you're punishing somebody for failing at doing
So-
It doesn't matter. Did
okay,
that guy come around and become the hero of the
hold
story?
on,
No.
Hold on.
He was
Hold
meant
on.
to be a bad guy.
Hold on.
You don't when you're
Hold
when you
on.
are a propaganda machine, you do not portray moral
Hold
grays. You only
Hold
portray
on.
moral black and whites.
Well-
That's why it is impossible for that to be.
Hold on. Okay. So, maybe. Let me do. Hold on.
I didn't move.
But I can feel it. I can feel it.
I was literally.
I
was
think
waiting.
you and I are thinking
He's
about the same thing.
So you're right. You're right. There are two potential reasons. So number one, he fails, he's punished, and then he succeeds greatly. So maybe there is something there to kind of push that forward. Number two, I have to go back and look, but I wonder if the cinematography style changes. Because like you said, there are no visual cues, or excuse me, audio cues. So I wonder if it's filmed in a different way, just stylistically generally. And that may present super subtly that it does exist outside of this newsreel.
Right, and if you're making the case that there are bits that are taken from that are supposed to be that, then I'd probably agree. I would be curious to see, like you said, if the style of filmmaking changes between those. But I do remember specifically, like, it's just a striking image where he's got the ropes and they're holding him up, and it's a very wide frame, and you're seeing the
that
poles.
we don't see again, if at all, in the film.
Right.
I know certainly the lighting changes.
Yeah, well, again, it's like it does. It's a very boom. Like, this guy's getting whipped, and it's like if I were making a propaganda piece, I would never portray moral gray situations or morally gray people, because in propaganda that can't exist. Because if there's a moral gray, then maybe there are times when you couldn't be wrong or couldn't be right.
Well, I think in
But-
this world, it's so brainwashed by that kind of propaganda that kind of punishment is not considered morally gray. It's morally just. He takes that punishment already deciding that he is going to leave.
Right.
And he says, because Dizzy tells him, like, you're leaving, but you just got, like, whipped. You took that punishment you could have left before. And he's like, I deserve that because that man died because of me.
Sure.
And
he's so driven by his sense of duty after his homeland gets destroyed that he's like, I'm ready to I know I already quit, but I'm ready to redeem myself. I'm ready to fight.
he could have not gotten whipped. He
I'm-
could have just left.
And I'm ready to do what I can for the Federation. What brings him back and his ascent through the rest of the movie is his sense of duty. So as in isolation, I can see your point with that scene, but as part of the cohesive whole, it's meant to show the story of, it's the classic hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
He starts off in a familiar environment, goes someplace he doesn't know. He has the falling action. That's certainly the falling action of the film for his character, at least. There's some other like little dips. Obviously, the first invasion.
Okay.
He's
And I understand what you guys are talking about on the, as far as a movie goes. Propaganda is not a film. Propaganda is filmed, but it is not a film.
Well,
You cannot have a character arc in a propaganda piece.
Maybe.
Because no, you can't. That is the definition of propaganda, is that you are right.
unless it's
always
so far beyond us.
Well, you're applying conventional methods of propaganda making to a fictional setting. So who's to say that's not their way of doing propaganda?
Yeah,
Most likely the director, who's gone on record saying that he was trying to encompass a vision of Nazi Germany in this type of setting. So I would assume, given not only just the visual cues from Nazi Germany, but also just straight up like reshot bits from Nazi propaganda films, that what they were doing, if they were trying to go at it as this entire thing is a documentary that people watch as a propaganda piece, then I would assume that he would have the faintest cue of what propaganda is. I don't think the movie was shot to be like that. I think it was shot to be its own thing, showcasing this. I don't think it exists in that world as a piece.
Yeah. Chris, did you have one more thing?
no, I think
Okay, so let's. say that, and then we're gonna wrap up because camera's about to die.
Well, that wasn't even what we were saying. Like, this is definitely what it is. I think we were all just positing a hypothesis to say, like, wouldn't it be cool if that was part of his intention?
Or how does that change what the film is saying?
Yeah.
It's just he has grown up in a world where you are fed what the government shows you to the point that you are so like indentured. I don't know if I'm using the right word. Indentured to the moral code of that government.
Oh no, he lives in 2020.
Yeah.
Yo, for real? For real?
No, he lives in the 23rd century.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got me. You got
Yeah.
me. Let us know if you tell us what you think about this film. Tell us respond to kind of what we just discussed right there about this idea of a propaganda piece versus it not being yada yada. You know, send that over to Pacino Podcast.
The question is, does it exist in that universe as a propaganda piece?
There you go. Send that over to pacinopodcast@gmail.com. And also on Twitter, Pacino you know, we don't use Twitter. I just do the email. All right.
We have giveaways.
And
do that shit.
Email him which host you think is the cutest, and in particular, which guest you think is the cutest.
Well, we've had only 2. No, we've had. Anyway,
I guess Claire counts.
Does Claire count?
What are the other guests? The cutest.
What are the other guests? Bitch.
All right. Who knows? But you look at me.
I am the captain now.
I'm the
Chrissy's the rapper now.
Wait,
do I have to rap
Oh
right
shit!
now? Oh yeah, ready or
This
not?
is a 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bugs blow up, people blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
I mean, all we needed is just one rabbit in there, and we could be like, Bugs Bunny. All right.
I have no idea what to do.
We need a beat.
Don't do that.
Okay. Starship troopers, they're the super troopers of the Star Wars. In this universe, they are Star Trekking around and they're cruisers, and they're gonna give all these bugs big bruisers. They're gonna chop them up and make a little souffle with a spider fucking cafe. Hi.
Yes, and
That's it. Yeah, I had absolutely nothing for this one.
I had bugs blow up, tits come out. Oh, that's gonna be great.
I do
to
not
listen
like
to.
his man bun.
I don't like your man.
I'm not a rapper.
Psych. That's the wrong number. I ain't your friend. What is it?
Rapper.
I ain't your friend. What are you doing?
What? Hey,
I ain't your friend. What is it?
Willis.
No, how does it go? First of all, I'm not a rapper. No, how does it go?
I don't know what you're
I'm not a
talking
rapper.
about.
Do you not know what the fuck I'm talking
No,
to you?
I don't.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
How does it go?
He's like, I'm not a rapper.
Yeah.
Everybody's like cheering him on. He's like,
Yeah, I
it's
know
the
who you're
greatest
talking about.
rapper. He's like, first of all, I'm not a rapper.
Rico and his girlfriend getting kind of
Quit- no,
busy.
quit-
She takes
first
off
of
her
all,
top, and I'm
quit
getting
looking at
kind
me.
of dizzy.
First of all, quit looking at me.
Second of all, I'm not your friend. I'm a rapper.
Yeah.
Rapper? I hardly know her.
Call my ex-girl. Here's her number.
Psych.
Psych! That's the wrong number!
Here's her number. Psych! That's the wrong number!
Oh yeah. Is it over?
Yeah.
Did we end it?
Yes. Cut.
I'm waiting on Kyle to say something so we can have a little backlog thing. Psych! That's the wrong number!
Kyle ambience, take one.